Good morning, everybody. Happy weekend. At least it's the weekend here in Japan already. It was a busy Friday yesterday. I got a little bit of streaming in at night, but I did miss the coffee chat yesterday. I had to help a buddy move to a new location. Been kind of planning for a while, but the days shifted a bit. But yeah, we got some of his stuff moved over yesterday in the morning, but that did mean no coffee chat. Complimentary monorail seems a little shorter than normal. I think most of the monorails are at least 5 or 6 cars. I don't know. Maybe some of it's out of commission or something. But yeah, so we missed our coffee chat yesterday. Usually in my current thinking is that coffee chat is more of a weekday thing. I don't really plan on doing many of them on the weekend, but I just didn't feel like we had met our quota for the week since we missed it yesterday. We did get a Hogwarts Legacy stream in last night. Not only did we get it streamed, but got it directly up to YouTube. So that is available there. We're up to, next episode will be episode 3, which I plan on knocking out today. Had some other WoW streams planned for the night, but just really life got in the way, didn't really happen, so we only did one stream yesterday. So still is 1 hour of content. My current problem is actually that I have too much content that I have not gotten thumbnails and things made for. Last night I got a little bit of work done on the thumbnails for Coffee Chat itself, because I've still yet to upload any Coffee Chat at all to the YouTube channel, which probably is not a good thing. I think the open format of this show and kind of the broader topics that we, because if I'm streaming WoW, we're probably talking something with WoW. Same goes for other games, but this is kind of just like a chill out, talk about whatever whim strikes us. We talk about movies, games, TV shows. I think I did like 15 minutes on Severance the other day, the TV show, which I've got a lot more to say, but I'll wait till a little bit later on that one, till after more people have seen the beginning of the second season. But yeah, this is a kind of open format, and eventually it would be a place where people could gather together and kind of ask questions live as well. I am on Japan time zone though, so that may be an issue in the long run for that. It's another thing that I'm kind of playing around with in my head right now. I'm trying to figure out how I should go about tackling the bilingual content hurdle that I have, because I feel the fact that I'm in Japan and I am fluent in Japanese, my partner is Japanese, we speak mostly Japanese on a daily basis. I can't help but feel like I'm kind of missing out on a big segment of the audience I could be pulling in if I was doing content in 2 languages. The only problem is, when you get into that type of thing, then if both languages are in the chat at the same time, we're kind of alienating one while we're taking care of the other, and vice versa. So I'm not really quite sure how I'm going to deal with that yet. I do think I should be doing some content in Japanese, which would probably be a whole new learning curve, because it's one thing to be able to speak Japanese and be fluent in Japanese, but I've never tried talking to myself in a room for an hour in Japanese. Well, I don't know. Maybe I have. I guess if I'm talking something my partner isn't too interested in, maybe I do end up talking to myself sometimes if I'm going explaining the differences between the old trilogy and the new trilogy for Star Wars and the expanded universe. That's probably pretty much the same as talking to myself in Japanese. So I don't know. Obviously, the easy answer is maybe just have a second channel that it caters to that. But especially so early in my YouTube career, I'm not even at a month yet. Splitting the audience, what little audience I have, seems like a bad idea. So yeah, I'm kind of open to suggestions on that. We'll be doing some more research, but in the short term, maybe I could toss up a couple videos that were specifically for Japanese users. Yeah, it's hard to say though. I do think that there's a big spot for content in Japanese from a foreigner's perspective, and I'm not just talking like the normal stuff you see all over YouTube. I've got a little bit of chip on my shoulder about a lot of that stuff. A lot of the people that have kind of been in Japan for like a shorter time, and they kind of, think they have adapted to the culture well, but just when I watch their videos, a lot of it just stands out as like some of the things that they're doing would annoy me if I was a Japanese person. I'm not a Japanese person, but it annoys me when people do things like that in public. And yeah, it just kind of, it makes all of us look worse as foreigners here in Japan, because we do get lumped in that same group. But I think the people, mainly the people I've made friends with here in Japan in the foreign community, are very respective and, if not already fluent, definitely on the path to being fluent and making that a priority in their life here, just so they can communicate with people in their native language, because it's not one of those things of like, we should expect that English, is accepted anywhere we go. But I still do see a lot of people that just walk up to counters and they just spit out a bunch of English, not even slowing it down for, the people at the register, but just full speed, no regard for the poor person that's behind the register wondering what this big foreigner is saying. I see stuff like that a lot, and it kind of gripes at me. It does make me avoid a lot of the tourist spots. It's pretty hard to get me to go to Kyoto. I love Kyoto. It's a really nice place. But I think I experienced the best Kyoto that I'm ever going to experience. And unfortunately, it's, obviously the standards that happened there weren't that great, but it was with COVID. During the COVID time, because I got in the country right before it really kicked off here in 2020, and obviously the first year or so was pretty rough because we were all stuck indoors. We didn't know what was going on with the virus, but as things started to open back up a little bit, but we didn't have all the tourists here. Places like Kyoto were just like a joy to go to. Me and my girlfriend, we started going to Miyajima every year. We would make it a point every year to climb the mountain on Miyajima in Hiroshima. And some of the times that we went to Miyajima, you could look for as far as the eye could see, and like the only thing you would see was a couple deer, or because even at that time, a lot of Japanese people were still afraid to go outside as well. So crowds were definitely lower than they normally were. And then on top of that, you just didn't have tourists here, which, it's kind of, might sound a little snooty to say that, because obviously I've been a tourist here many times before I lived here. But there is just kind of, it's one of those things, like I understand why they're making the mistakes they're making, at least some of them. Some of them are aggressively bad. Those are the ones that I really I would have words for if I saw them. But just the innocent mistakes and things like that are bound to happen as a tourist. Like, I can feel for that because I've been through that myself, 20, 30 years ago, the first times I was coming here. Which, when I think back at some of my first experiences in Japan, the first time I came, I was 15. I stayed for about 3 months. Didn't speak a word of Japanese. I was a high school student still. And I was pretty much here with a good friend of mine from my high school, that he was an international student. And he came back to his hometown of Osaka. So I came with him. And if I could look back through like an eyeglass, like into the past of my 15-year-old self. The stuff that I was probably doing in Japan, just like, you know, random mistakes, being as American as you can possibly be. Like, it would be cringe as hell. Like, I would not want to see that. I guarantee. Not only would I just like look at the younger self and be like, why are you such an asshat, you know? But when it comes to Japanese culture, I just didn't know anything. So I understand both sides of it. I know it's hard to like fit in and stuff when you get over here, but like, as somebody who is trying to make a long-term home here and has gone to the trouble of trying to learn the language, trying to adapt to the culture as much as possible, I just can't help but feel like a lot of times when I'm seeing a lot of the tourists in public, the things that they're doing make us look bad as Americans, make us look bad as foreigners, and it sucks that I'm kind of being taken down a peg every time people do stuff like that, especially when it makes big news, because it really is, it reflects on everybody. I've noticed really recently, you know, I've only been doing the streaming thing for a few weeks at this point, getting pretty close to a month here, but for the last 4 years, me and my girlfriend, pretty much everywhere we go, we like to take a lot of videos, we like to take a lot of pictures, just for our own personal photo albums that we upload a lot of that to our Instagram pages, just of kind of like a memory of all the places we went. And I think we're the only ones that probably look at it. We don't really, I doubt we get people too interested in what we do, but pretty much, you know, anywhere I would go, I would film stuff just with my cell phone camera. You know, I don't have like a YouTube setup or even now I don't have anything like that, but I would never really get any looks or you know, any trouble with just taking pictures of ourselves, because, you know, I'd always make sure to try to film just us. I wouldn't put the camera towards anybody you know, that wasn't in my immediate group. But just in the last like few weeks, like, you know, and maybe I'm more aware of it now because I've started the content creation thing, but I've been told different times not to film in public, and all I was really doing is my girlfriend, she was trying to get something out of the UFO catcher, the crane game, and you know, I wanted to get the shot of her actually picking up the thing and get her reaction and just see her happy face and have that just for myself. And I was told by the staff to not be filming, even though we were the only ones in frame. And a lot of it has to do with just the way YouTubers and stuff have been behaving in Japan recently, especially the foreign ones. Somebody sent me a picture of a dude that was dancing all over the train, jumping around, like literally swinging like on the bars and stuff. And it's just hard for me to watch that stuff, because every time I meet somebody new, or if I go out in public, even if I don't have my camera in hand, I have to kind of like pay the price for all that bad behavior, you know, because they, you know, rightly so, lump me into the same category, because that's how we're presenting ourselves over here. So it really does suck, but I'm really happy that I got to experience Kyoto and places like Miyajima before all the tourism started again. But it does make me pretty hesitant to go to those places now. Not only that it's just crowded and a pain in the ass to get around, but it's just some of the stuff I'll see when I go there probably not make me in the greatest mood. So yeah, we kind of keep to our local areas. I'm pretty busy anyways, between the 9 to 5, between all the YouTube stuff I'm doing, supporting Yuki and all her endeavors. You know, she's about to graduate from Osaka University, so she's got about another month. She'll have her graduation, so almost done there. But yeah, she has part-time jobs. I have to take her to school and things like that. And then you add in, normally if I'm not injured, I'm also doing quite a few tennis lessons and tennis sessions every week. So I've got quite a lot on my plate. I don't really need to go out to places like Kyoto and that too often. I think we are going to go on a date this next Monday, though. We're going to go and make perfume, apparently. It's something that Yuki's been wanting to do. So I don't know if that's something I'll be able to film at all. It just depends on the situation. Like, if it seems like it's a private place that would be okay to film some of us creating the perfume and cologne that we're going to be making, maybe I'll document some of that and bring it into one of the coffee chats. But if it's a crowded place and I'm probably going to get looks, I usually would prefer not to get the wrath of all the people around me. So yeah, sorry, we've been hanging out outside of the studio. Why don't you come in the studio here? Mess of chords. The mess of chords is getting worse. I had another technical problem this morning where I was getting crackling out of my speakers. It's just audio problems have been the bane for like the last week or so now. Not really sure what demons are in my cables and my audio equipment making everything a pain for me, but I was able to figure it out pretty quickly. I think it had a lot to do with there's a big Windows update that came through for me last night. I'd actually planned on doing one more WoW stream. I had everything set up and ready to go, but OBS stopped responding. I figured, okay, well, I'm going to reboot it, but it thought that another instance was running. I decided to just reboot the computer, and I hit probably the longest one I've had in a long time. It's probably going for at least an hour or so. Really slow pace, and I kind of lost all my motivation at that point and checked out for the night and just hung out with Yuki for the rest of the night. But because of that, I'm well rested. No, do I look well rested? About as well rested as I can be. This is 44 years of injuries and work mental injuries from work and everything else. No, yeah, it's definitely I've noticed in the last no joke at all, in the last 2 years, I do see the more gray hair and more just overall I don't know what I'd say, kind of tiredness in my face, and it did all stem from when all the layoff stuff started with NetEase and all the trouble I faced there, stuff that I can't really talk in detail about on camera, but let's just say it did take its toll. And it really kind of hasn't stopped from then. We've got industries kind of just throwing everything it has at people like me and trying to drive us out. It seems like a lot of people are heading out. I guess me even being on stream is me partially saying that I'm not really sure that the game industry right now is the most stable place to work. In the long term, I probably would like to turn this channel into something that is more of a safety net than anything else, because I do plan on continuing game development. If you notice my logo for Coffee Chat, the game dev peon, work complete with a question mark. Of course, that's a callback to the old Warcraft orcs that you click on them and make them do all the work, and then you'd kind of take all the spoils. And it's not the subtlest of references there to the similarities between what an orc peon might face and what we in the game industry face is just cogs in the machine that just more and more seem to be thrown out with the trash and then repurposed into other roles, and then those get thrown out as well. So the work complete part with a question mark was kind of just a challenge to myself of I'm not looking for the YouTube thing to cash in anytime soon. With my personality, I don't know if it's something that will ever cash in. I don't know. I kind of have my own opinions, and sometimes my opinions might not be the most popular. I don't know how that would play with a big audience. But the good thing is I'm not really I'm not really banking on this to do anything. If this just turns out to be me recording a lot of my video game sessions, and I can go back and check out what games I was playing at the time, just for me, that's something probably I'd like to have. I like looking at our, I can go back and look at the all the dates and everything that I've been on with Yuki for the last 4 years, because I've documented it all, and it's really nice. I like it. I like being able to go back and see what I was up to, what my mood was that day, things like that. So if anything, maybe it'll just be like a personal game blog of what I'm doing, or the other hand, could be more of a therapeutical thing. Maybe this is just as good as talking to a therapist, which I do see a therapist once a month already. But Japan healthcare is good in a lot of ways, but when it comes to mental health, it's not too common that you can get a therapist that will actually listen to your problems. It's more of doling out medication and then sending you on your way. I think I have a good therapist. He does accommodate me, I think specifically because I'm an American. But maybe if nothing pans out with the YouTube stuff, at least I'll have some personal therapy sessions every day by talking to the camera like this. But not really banking on this. I do plan on, I want to be creating in the industry, so I plan on staying until AI takes over everything, which is a real possibility. It is encroaching quite a bit, but that's nothing I have control over. All I can do is try to stay one step ahead of it and use it to help me keep my job. So let's go ahead and look at some headlines. I'm not expecting too much today because it's just the weekend and not much pops off on the weekend. Although I guess maybe that is kind of a benefit of being in Japan. It's technically not the weekend in America yet. It's still Friday, so maybe there's some stuff that happened while I was sleeping. I haven't really looked at this yet, but console wars are over and nobody really won. Console wars just really haven't felt like wars anymore. I mean, especially with everything crossing over to everything now. The point where Microsoft started putting everything on PC and PlayStation put everything on PC is just more and more the only reason why I really Xbox dips out. They seem like they're kind of dipping out. They've never really caught on here in Japan. The section for Xbox, when a new console comes out, it's always really small compared to the other ones, and then you can just watch in real time as the section gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until it's just not even a thing. I do believe if I go to like an Edion or a Yamada Denki or something like that, which sells a lot of games for all the consoles, I can still see some Xbox Series X games, but it's very, very minimal. Just a really small section. A lot of times the hardware wouldn't even be there. Peripherals, things like that, good luck. Better get on Amazon for that stuff. Just never really caught on here. And I do remember it being that way all the way back when the original Xbox launched. A buddy of mine, he got the... he went to Akihabara and he got the full-on, can't remember the game, but maybe it's Steel Battalion, maybe? Might have been, or I might be thinking of a different mech game, but it was the one where it had pretty much a whole mech setup. And sorry, restarting my music here. It looks like we hit the end of a 25 minute playlist, it looks like. Yeah, which is probably pretty good reminder for me to kind of wrap things up at a certain point, because I do tend to go on and these get long, so maybe I'll use that in the future. But yeah, he had the it was like a big metal control, and that seemed really cool, and there were people I remember initially in Akihabara lining up for that. It's right around the time that I got into Final Fantasy 11, it would have been, 11, the online one, for the first time. I remember lining up for the first expansion of Final Fantasy 11 in Akihabara. Probably those stores are probably no longer there anymore. That place is increasingly more tourists and maid cafes than just the old video game haven that it used to be. Pretty much most of the stores have all the same stuff, so yeah, at least in Japan, the wars never really started. It's always been Sony and Nintendo here. Although PC gaming is getting much bigger, especially with Japanese streamers. Yeah, Nintendo is very unique. They don't really join the war. They have like their own thing that they do. I'm gonna turn the audio off. We did watch this before, but I really liked this trailer that they did here. Yeah, Nintendo, they kind of just do their own thing. They have those massive cash reserves that everybody talks about, like where they could literally fail for, the next 10 years and probably still have enough cash to keep things going, keep the lights on over there. But they don't really seem like they want to compete. They have their own style and they do their own thing. And I think that's one thing why me and like a lot of developers I know, like I would say the majority of developers, especially working on games like Call of Duty and things like that, more often than not, you'll see that they're super into like something either Nintendo or akin to Nintendo, like something like Sonic the Hedgehog or just like some random, like totally out of left field compared to what you're working on type of thing. And it is just for that reason. It's because if you're looking at realistic military shooters all day, when you go home, you want to check out from that. You don't want to get online and be looking at, your Call of Duty, your same Call of Duty avatar that you see standing on the screen all day while you're working on stuff at work. You want to, get taken away to something totally different. And Nintendo kind of does that. And that's why for me, it never has really seemed like they're competing in the console war. I mean, definitely back in the day, like when I was growing up, the Nintendo and Sega thing was really fierce, and that was, if nothing else, just like how you formed your groups on the playground of who had what consoles. And I never really participated too much in that. I would pretty much play anything you put in front of me. I do remember having a lot of friends that just swore up and down on one or the other, the Genesis or the Super Nintendo. But yeah, for me, whatever I had or whatever my friends had, I was totally down to play it. So I never got much. I do think some of the old, Nintendo does what Sega don't, or Sega does what Nintendo don't, and all those advertisements, well, they were very hilarious. Like, Crash Bandicoot going to the Nintendo headquarters is always a good one. I did like the what is that dude's name? It was a much later one, but the one he pretended like he was the either vice president or some type of president, the Kevin Butler role. That guy was hilarious. I love his commercials. And he was just some random commercial dude. You can see other clips online of him going, selling you dish soap or other things like that. Is pretty funny, but he played that role so well. Definitely the console wars have made a bunch of interesting content for sure, but I don't think anybody wins in the wars. Oh god, this has to be Japan, right? Oh boy. Start the slideshow, I'm half afraid. Okay. I mean, from here it looks fine because, you can't see how big the damn thing is, but... Okay, wow, they're super in-depth. Yeah, most Japanese homes don't have this much space, so I don't think this is going to be a big seller here in Japan, at least. Does it have, like, table legs, or is that just sitting on, like, a chair? How is it actually standing? No, it seems like that's part of it. So I guess it's kind of like an art easel. Yeah, maybe turn it into an art easel. Have her put her arms out and hold your canvas. That might not be bad. Yeah, I don't think anybody here has room in their home. I mean, obviously, some people have really big homes, but majority of Pokemon fans I know don't have room for this. I wonder what this costs. This probably is like insanely expensive. Do they have any price? Might be popular. Yeah, so maybe they're going after the American market. Almost Goemon yen. It's like, oh my god, the exchange rate. Just looking at that exchange rate from that to that, it just hurts. I'm still from the time where 100 yen was close enough to $1 that you could kind of just convert it, you do the conversion in your head that way, but oh boy, Japanese yen has just sank, making it really hard to go back to the States and travel and stuff. It really sucks. I hope they get it figured out. I don't know anything about Japanese politics, so I can't really speak on that very much, but I definitely know that I am feeling the pain of we call it the enyasu, which means like the Japanese yen has gotten cheaper. It's kind of a quick way to say it. New Vegas writer is back at Obsidian. That's cool. Whoa, what are we doing here? Okay, sorry, looks like my internet was deciding not to work. See how I timed that coffee sip right in between the tracks? Professional. No, that was just pure luck. Yeah, so I am a big Fallout fan. The TV show was awesome. It got me back into it a lot. I was really into Fallout 3 a lot. Briefly played Fallout 4 but never finished it. But the TV show made me want to go back and play it. I never did get to play New Vegas, even though most people say it is the best of all of them. I got it at launch though, and the launch of New Vegas was famously bad. It was a broken game when it came out, and I tried as I may to play it in the opening weeks on PC, and it was just unplayable. But did they clean that up, or I don't know, did they clean it up, or the community cleaned it up for them? But just recently, after I finished the TV shows, because it's obvious, I think it's probably, we're in time where it's okay to talk minor spoilers on that. The TV show does seem like at the end it is headed towards New Vegas. It seems like the next season might be a New Vegas season. I really felt like maybe I should finally get around to playing it, and I did get a bunch of stuff installed. It turned out to be a whole 2-night endeavor of getting enough mods installed to make it actually not buggy. So yeah, I guess it probably is the community that's mainly cleaned it up. I really wish there was just like a remastered, even just to the level of Fallout 3 or even 4 maybe, or the online one, but to just be able to have that remastered and playable, because everybody raves about it so much. And I saw some of the art and stuff, and the way they mix in kind of some of the imagery from like the Roman Legion and stuff to some of the factions. It looks really like something I would enjoy a lot, but I ended up spending 2 nights getting everything set up, and then it's one of those things of like, okay, I finally got it set up so it's playable, and then something else grabs my attention, and there I go, I'm off, and I haven't looked back. So maybe before the second season comes out. Oh boy, seeing a word I don't like here. Yeah, gives me pause. Not the happiest times at NetEase. Okay, he was previously at NetEase. Yeah, a new opportunity rose. I don't know Mr. Gonzalez here. I have no connection to him. But I would guess the new opportunity that arose might also have something to do with departments getting obliterated and people being laid off, because a lot of that going on right now on the NetEase side. They are they're one of the ones. They've stayed out of the headlines pretty well, and unfortunately they're getting some good attention with Marvel Rivals now. And I think the Marvel Rivals thing, just what I've seen of it, it was at a whole nother quality level that I wasn't used to at my time there, just because of not the people that were working there. They did have a lot of powerhouse talent that they had brought in to do a lot of things, but the just decisions that were made up above, not even in country, were made back in China, where the company is based. All of that would trickle down, and all that meant was just more coworkers being said goodbye to, more projects being canned, and just a world of hurt. So I want to support Marvel Rivals, because I know that obviously to make something as good as that game looks, and it does look really good. I do have it installed on my PS5. I just haven't gotten myself to try it yet. But especially under those conditions, to be able to make something that good, that has to be a really talented studio that worked on Marvel Rivals. And I hope they're all. I would think they would be the safest of everybody, I would think, because of the success of Marvel Rivals. But yeah, it's pretty hard sometimes when you have powers above that are just making horrible decisions that affect you and your employees. But to be able to flourish in that environment, imagine what that team could do if they didn't have that, all those handcuffs that I'm sure are there. Also, it's hard to work on real IPs, like especially anything involved with Disney. I'm of course a huge Disney fan, as you can tell from my walls, but I have heard a lot of stories about just how hard Disney can be to work with as far as getting their IPs right. And they kind of have to, because at least in my opinion, a lot of the Disney IPs are kind of sacred, and you don't want to mess up a Mickey Mouse game. That's their guy. And speaking of Mickey Mouse, I do hope when we finish Hogwarts Legacy, we might be doing some Epic Mickey remastered. So yeah, got a little bit sidetracked there, but yeah, it looks like they've got the writer back. I do think I'll get back to Fallout New Vegas. I'm just hoping a remaster or something comes. You would think it's a prime market for it. Hardcore Xbox fans are struggling to process Forza on PS5. Yeah, I mean, get used to it. That's the best thing I could say. Get used to seeing everything everywhere, I would say. I've worked at Microsoft twice. I worked there on Forza. Actually, I worked on Forza 6. Put that one a little bit higher up because I'm not a very big car fan, so I don't really. It's not a highlight of my career, although it was a good franchise to work on. But it's as an environment artist, it was a little rough for me because Forza is you fly by everything so quickly that a lot of the environments you can't really get too detailed with. But I mean, Forza, they're going to do what they got to do. Watching the headlines year by year, it seems to me like Forza Horizon has just totally overtaken the original title. I didn't work on Forza Horizon. I worked on Forza 6, which was the base version. And I remember while I was there, okay, I don't know what that comment is there. We're not going to read that on. But yeah, well, it looks like the type of thing you might see in an Xbox thread. It's funny because like one story here is like the console wars are over, and then this here is like a lot of people that are definitely, they don't look like they're done with the console wars. For me, if you can give me all the games on one system, that just makes me more happy as a consumer, because then I don't have to buy as many systems. Yeah, maybe everything will just end up on PC in the end if consoles go away eventually. Yeah, but while I was there, it was still Forza was the main tentpole in the franchise. And then Forza Horizon was kind of like the new upstart, and boy has that shifted. I feel like, they're up to what, 5 now is probably the most recent one, if this is here. It seems like a more fun concept to me, not being a car person. It seemed a little more lighthearted, and while Forza 6 was, I guess, is for the real car people, but a lot of reuse of the same tracks. I know the tracks I was working on, for the most part, were recreated tracks from previous Forzas. I did get to work on the Rio de Janeiro track, which was a unique space. That was the closest I had to fun working on that project. I don't know. I've told this story to people off camera before, but one of the most surprising things for me working at Microsoft, and this was the first time I worked at Microsoft, was we were on the Microsoft campus at Turn 10, and it's a really nice facility, beautiful area in Redmond. But being on the Turn 10 campus, Turn 10 was I think, like, they have like a whole, when I say campus, it really is like a campus, but there's a whole bus network that runs within the campus, just shuttling Microsoft people from gig to gig, or studio to studio, because like a lot of people have to make the rounds to different areas of the campus. And Turn 10 was a little bit out there. It was a little bit on the outskirts, but you would walk in every day, and like if you wanted to see a parking lot filled with the supercars and stuff like that, that was the place to go. I was driving my regular, I think I had a Nissan Murano at the time, so it's like one step away from like a minivan. But pulling up next to all these people in their supercars that I couldn't tell you what half the cars were, but they looked really expensive. And you go into the lobby, and at the time I was there, they had a McLaren there, and I didn't even know what a McLaren was until I walked past one every day for about a year. But it was just a shell. It was like I think it was like an orange McLaren that was probably featured on one of the covers, but it was not an actual car. It had pieces of an actual car, but it was hollowed out, and it was just for display there. But the first 2 or 3 weeks that I was at Microsoft, it was just insane to me. I got up there, and I just moved to the area, and I came in to work, and studio cultures go, I would say it was a little on the lacking side, at least at the time. They might be doing a lot better right now. At the time, this was like around 2014 or so, I would say, probably around 2014. There was a really big separation by the color of badge that you had. If you were a blue badge, which meant that you were a Microsoft employee, a full-time employee, you were, treated a lot better. You had more access to different parts of the campus. They had a lot of benefits, like in the cafeteria and things like that. And if you're a green badge, I believe it was, a green badge, like I was, which is just a temporary worker through an agency, because this was probably like my third gig in the industry, after Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. But there was just a real, you could really feel it, the kind of acknowledgement of what your badge was to how you were interacted with by the staff. And the only thing, I can kind of equate it to, because, obviously there's a bunch of really cool, nice people working there that were blue badges. I did meet a couple that I actually talked with a little bit, but for the most part, we just didn't really associate with the blue badges too much. And I think it was really not because they were so snooty or anything like that. I think it was that thing that, like, if you've ever seen the World War II drama Band of Brothers, there's an episode towards the later half. It's about the 101st Airborne in Normandy and their fight through France. And there's an episode probably towards the later half called Recruits, and the whole focus of the episode was just how so many of the original crew that they came into Normandy had been either wounded or killed. They had to restaff, and they went ahead and got new recruits into the ranks, but the new recruits were just treated like shit, or pretty much ignored for the most part. And most of that was because the people that were there, they knew that these guys are going to end up getting killed, they're going to get injured. There's no point of even making friends with these people because they're just going to be gone really soon anyways. And my general feeling was like, that's what I and my coworkers, because we talked about it sometimes, the other green badges, I believe it was. Might be getting the color wrong. I'm pretty sure it was green badge for the temporary agency people. But we were on the same projects, doing the exact same work that they were. We were a lot of times doing very large portions of their flagship games as artists, coders, testers, everything mixed in between. I had a really strange title there. It was I've had to change the actual title on my LinkedIn and other resume and things like that because people read it wrong. I was a polish artist, it was called, which is kind of like taking stuff from mainly outsourced material and making it better. Bringing it up to that Call of Duty level that I had demonstrated in my portfolio. And it turned out that I actually did make a lot of props from scratch there as well, but there was definitely a lot of the cleanup. It's why my Forza 6 portion of my portfolio is very bare, because I didn't want to put any of the assets that I had kind of taken it from the halfway point. I didn't want to put those in my portfolio, so it did make it so it's kind of light on the portfolio work. I only put in the pieces that I did the work for from the get-go. But we talked about it sometimes between ourselves, and it was definitely a thing that people felt like we just weren't a part of the team. And I did experience to a lesser extent the same thing when I was at 343 Industries as well. That's probably pretty safe to say right now, because that whole team, I think everybody that I know at least, has cycled out of there. Halo Infinite was a really rough development cycle, many development cycles you could say. And it started and restopped so many times, but there was the green badge, blue badge thing there too. It definitely felt like we were a lower class within the whole system. And true to the recruits episode of Band of Brothers, most of us did get killed or wounded, we shall say, by either I'll say probably the we'll call the wounded one. Your 1 year contract is finished, and then you move on to a different role because they only gave you 1 year and they're not renewing. Or I guess you could say the killed one is they're laid off suddenly without notice. I actually didn't fall into either of those. The thing that let me get back to, before we go on to this will be I promise this will be the last story, and then we'll close off for today. But the thing that I was saying is about the craziest thing for me at Microsoft on my first 2 to 3 weeks while I was there, and this probably ties to the green badge status, was that I didn't have a Xbox, and they could not find an Xbox. I believe it was like Xbox One at the time, probably. It would have been Xbox One. They could not find, for the life of them, a Xbox console on the Microsoft campus for me to put on my desk and use as a dev kit. That, and it went both ways, The first, I remember the person I reported to, they were trying to get me a dev kit first. That looked like it was not going to happen for quite a while. So the next best thing, which I think I probably suggested, was, well, can I at least get a regular Xbox on my desk so I can see what's already in game? I can start getting used to what type of games it is, because I'm not a player of racing games. That one too, days went by, could not find any of them. Ended up about 2 or 3 weeks till I got anything. I didn't even have a computer for my first first 3 weeks there, there was something on my desk when I walked in for my first day, but apparently it was known to be a lemon, as in like they knew from the get-go that the PC was not functional, and it kind of just been put there by facilities because they had a duty to do so. And basically, the first day I took it in, they said, yeah, this is totally this is fried, this is not going to be working, we need to get you a whole new PC. And apparently, they went about trying to figure, I don't know how that works at Microsoft, but trying to figure out where to, I don't know if they were scavenging in dump piles like behind the different studios looking for spare parts or what, but like it took a good 3 weeks or so until I actually got a PC on my desk. Up until that point, for the first 3 or 4 days, I was stuck only looking at I think it was like a whatever the Microsoft equivalent of a iPad was, looking at the company syllabus and the game wiki, which is something you have internally for kind of a update history of everything that should be in the game, but those things are usually very out of date, which it was. And I was pretty much in my cubicle trying to read off of an Microsoft Surface tablet, probably it was, for a few days. Then finally I got a whatever the lowest end, just so you have like a screen and a keyboard, Microsoft tablet laptop it would have been, which also had served me no function as a developer. I was just looking at the wiki for that too, looking over my neighbor's shoulder quite a bit, asking questions because probably annoying the hell out of him. Never really became close to the guy I sat next to, and maybe that was why. Maybe the first few weeks of me looking over his shoulder and asking questions about the game was enough to kind of drive him off. But he was also a green badge too. But I think he was a green badge for long enough that he was working his way up into that blue badge territory. I think he had an N, and he might not have wanted to be associated with me. So yeah, obviously no names at all in this story. I couldn't give you a name if I wanted to. I can't. My memory's not that good. But after 3 weeks, I finally did get my dev kit, at least. My PC arrived probably a couple days before that. But yeah, the first 3 weeks were really uneventful, and I just thought it was so funny that like you can be on the Microsoft campus and you can't find a Xbox. Like it just seemed like there would be trucks or pallets of those in some warehouse. This is a really big campus, but yeah, maybe I just wasn't worthy of one yet. But yeah, I think that's probably, there was probably some other tangent that I was ready to go down, but you know what, let's just cut it off there because we're up at 50 minutes. It is a weekend one. Today I'm going to make this a day of getting, my goal today aside from this is to get 3 different streams done, because I do have a pretty busy day tomorrow. We're gonna go over to a friend's house for lunch. Probably gonna be doing some house errands, some shopping, stuff like that. So I'll probably only get 1 stream done tomorrow, I'd say. So I'm gonna try to go in heavy today. I'm also gonna work on some channel stuff. Sorry, I just realized that comment here, this Xbox console war combat has been on the screen the whole time. Hopefully the algorithm doesn't pick that up. Does Twitch even have an algorithm? I don't know. I mean, all this stuff will go on on YouTube. Coffee Talk hasn't gone up yet, but that is what I'm working on right now. Actually, I'm working on a thumbnail for Coffee Chat. As soon as I have my thumbnail template, I will get the, what are we at now? 14 episodes? Yeah, the 14 episodes that we have done for that so far, up, and kind of have the whole series there for viewing too. I do want to make this a kind of a tentpole show for my channel, so I think the game developer insight that I bring is probably one thing that sets me apart a little bit. I gotta gotta use what I've got. That's cash in on what you have, right? But yeah, I think we're gonna call it here. Let's take one look outside really quick. Hopefully the music hasn't been too overpowering. I'm still looking for that right balance of voice volume versus music volume. I do a lot of recordings before I start, but a lot of times after I've been playing on different devices, playing on my Apple, my iPhone, my iPad, PC, like, some of them it does sound a little bit better than others, so I'm trying to figure out where my levels should be still, but we'll adjust that as we go. See what's going on outside here. Oh, got a little more overcast. It was a nice day when we started here. Uh-oh. Signs of things to come. No, it's a weekend. Nothing can touch us, right? Well, the music can stop on us at the very last second. That might throw off our beat a bit. But yeah, thank you for stopping by. If you are watching this on YouTube, make sure to go ahead, like, subscribe, and hit the bell thing. I use that myself for channels that I subscribe to, and it is really nice. So it seems like it occasionally forgets to function, but when it is functioning, it does alert me to content that I'm interested in, that when new stuff goes up. So hopefully anybody that's watching there, you can make use of that. It does help the channel a lot. I am brand new, so I am working on some stuff to hopefully, once I get a little bit more uploaded, I still have probably about 40 hours of content that is ready to upload. Once I get a little bit more of that up, I will probably start a push to really get the name out there, and I want people, when they land on the page the first time, to not just be faced with a few different WoW videos and things like that. I want to have a little bit broader choices for people, and this show is a part of that. So yeah, hopefully this weekend all of Coffee Chat will be up on the YouTube channel. If so, you can just watch me on loop over and over. I won't get mad, I'm okay with it. You can feel free to just open me on every single browser that you have, on your neighbors' browsers, sneak into their houses, open their browsers, play my videos, like whatever you got to do to get the name out there. I'm totally okay with that. I won't get mad. All right, well, I'm gonna let the peon take us out here. Thanks for coming for the vibes and staying for the Zug Zug. I'm gonna have some of my Zug Zug right here. It is getting a little cold, so I think I need to drink that. Yeah, have a good weekend, everybody. I will see you on the stream later tonight. Have a good one.